Hi everyone, it's Derby weekend, Celtic versus Rangers here at Hampden Park. A little bit of a different view of Hampden Park, Ryan.
Yes.
Some job's worth and a high vis has moved us on from the front of the stadium because apparently we're encroaching even though we were in a car park, and we're now at a kind of very similar bit about, well, a good bit on to be fair, but the same ground, so not too happy about that, but I'm going to let all that anger subside over the next half an hour or so.
It's Celtic fans at Hampden. It doesn't seem to go straight forward for us, does it?
I just as well didn't have a tricolour, it would have been even worse. It's the great crossover, everyone. Part 3, Ryan118, back on the channel for the third time. Mixed results so far. We had the defeat at Ibrox.
That's right.
We had the 3-0 win at Celtic Park. We ditched you for the last derby. We've got you back in, just keeping it fresh.
That's nice.
And we've got you in for this big one at Hampden. Do you like Hampden?
Listen, no, I don't. I don't like it. Simply put, I don't. I appreciate the day out. I appreciate the change of scenery, but the stadium itself, as I stand looking at it here, not the biggest fan.
Why?
It's just, I don't know. It's just you're so far away from the pitch half the time. It's just, I don't know. It's just I've never been a fan of it. I just want to knock it down, start from scratch, give something that looks much better than this.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, this angle isn't doing it much. If we were at round at the front, it would probably look a little bit better. I think I like Hampden. I like the idea of Hampden. I love coming here. I love the big game feel. I even like playing against the lesser teams here because it's kind of a big day out for them, and I just enjoy that whole thing. But the stadium, I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I don't think it's a particularly great stadium for atmosphere. I've been here when it's been rocking sometimes, for Scotland games and Celtic games, but I think, you could have all the great stuff about Hampden at a more compact stadium.
Yeah, listen, you look at all the national stadiums across Europe and I just feel like we have one of the worst. I was in...
It's like something for the 1960s.
I know, exactly. And that's like my dad, he's been going to Hampden since he was a boy back in, the 60s, 70s and all the rest of it, and he's said the same thing. He's just never liked it. I was at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. It trumps this.
Iconic.
It just trumps this.
Iconic.
I know that's far away from the pitch as well, but at least the stadium just makes up for it. I don't know. I've just never been a fan of it, as you said. I like the idea, but they could do it. Imagine like a stadium like Celtic Park sitting right here. It would be brilliant. Green and white as well.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
Yes.
How are you feeling about this weekend's match at Hampden?
Good. Right now it's Saturday, the day before Sunday, so I'm feeling a little bit nervy. It's catching up, just a little bit. But you know what? The last couple of derby performances have me confident, and I feel like we have the right to be confident. And we spoke about that the last time I was on before that derby. We're going into these games now where we've just been playing incredible. Our record speaks for itself, so we have every right to be. Rangers are off the back of playing 120 minutes last night. Well, we record this on the Friday.
Right, we've given away the fact we're recording this. You tried to be clever 2 minutes ago and kid on, we're recording this on Saturday. We're recording this on Friday, everyone.
Silly me. But they've just played 120 minutes. We've had 8 days rest. The signs would point towards us being the favourites, so I'm feeling confident. But you always get that wee bit of nerve. That's always going to be, that's natural.
And you would be confident if you had Ryan's record here at Hampden. Talk us through it.
Yes, well, I think this is coming up, as I said to you before, 15th or 16th time here.
Right.
And I have never seen us lose, not once.
Wow.
And I'm not prepared to let that record slide this weekend. If worst comes to worst, I will throw myself onto the park, stop the game if it has to be done in some way.
Don't say that.
Tricolour blazing above my head.
It's incredible though, and Celtic do have this incredible 17-game winning run at Hampden, all the way back to losing to them on Sunday the 17th of April.
That's right, because it's every game since I've been to.
Did you hear the date there? Sunday the 17th of April. What's the date this Sunday?
Don't bring it up, mate. Just leave it out. I don't need that.
But seriously though, imagine you told yourself that day when you were walking away from Hampden after losing to them that we'd win our next 17 games here and won at Murrayfield as well. I mean, 18 semi-finals and finals that Celtic have won in a row. You'd be absolutely delighted. I reckon there's some good teams in there as well. 4 against Rangers, 5 against Aberdeen, 3 against Hibs, 2 against Hearts. As I say, the record's actually 18 if you add that game against Hearts at Murrayfield. But my mind works in a mysterious way. So are we now due a defeat here?
Well, technically, yes. Because, all good things must come to an end. We know the saying. But, if we go to Hampden and we play the same way that we've played in those 17 other games, then we should be winning. Rangers, of course, they're on that kind of point now where domestically they need this. I think the pressure's on them. So that can easily change the course of the game. The outcome could be different. But I don't know, there's just something about going to Hampden. I don't know if it's just the players just rise to the occasion every time. They just feel like it works here. we just seem to have that formula for winning. And I wouldn't be overly upset if it changed this weekend, but as I said, you just feel confident when you look at numbers like that.
Because we have had moments in some of those games where we've gone behind and had to dig really deep, and we always just seem to find the answer. And I mean, I think only one of those has even gone to extra time, the final with no fans here against Hearts, when we were on our knees at that stage. So I just think this Celtic team, I said it last week in the channel that I felt, Brendan Rodgers, say what you want about him, but he changed this Celtic squad.
Yep.
And I know there's not too many players left in this squad from his days, but I still think guys like Beaton, Rogic, McGregor, Forrest are now real winners. Scott Bain, even, something like that. I mean, these guys come here and they expect to win, whereas I think for a while under Neil Lennon there was a real trepidation for the players. I think the fan base were always really anxious. I mean, I came to Killie beating us here, I came to Hearts beating us here. Ross County, I was at twice. I was at them beating us both games. Rangers beating us here. Inverness, Cali Thistle in the semi-final. Everything seemed to go wrong for Celtic in these matches, and now there just seems such a calmness, and I think there's a real calmness to the Celtic team just in general at the moment.
Well, one point I was going to raise there was, you look at the last two cup finals we've played here with fans, we went behind in both of them. We went behind against Hearts and we went behind against Hibs in the League Cup, but we dug deep and we found the calmness that you're talking about, and we managed to win the game. And that's another, and that ties into the last derby as well. We went behind against Rangers very early on in the game. It's another, confidence. It's another perk of the confidence this Celtic team has, because we know that we can come back from being behind. We've done it before, we can do it again, and that's why. And it's different. I've said this point. But if you go 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go, obviously that's very different. But you go down 1-0 early here at Hampden, we've shown we can do it, and I think the Celtic fans will feed the confidence to the players to make that happen again.
Yeah, I mean, as we say, it's an iconic stadium. We may not be a massive fan of it. I just get a feeling every time I walk down that road towards Hampden. Indigestion. But apart from that, I also quite like the football as well.
Just indigestion. Yeah. I'm looking down this road right now, and I think this is the first time I've stood at it sober. I really honestly think this might be the first time.
Strange looking thing without all the kind of burger vans and all that, which usually give me indigestion.
And all the rest
of
it.
Right, let's, while we're talking about Hampden, talk about some of our favourite memories of playing them here. Notice the them there. 2016 League Cup semi-final, the Moussa Dembele double back heel.
Brilliant.
I got in for a fiver that day.
A fiver?
The SPFL.
Did you slip it at the desk?
Nothing. I'm not as if I'd admit to that anyway. And by the way, I've never actually done that at a game. I think they were doing a deal at the time, because I think the other semi-final from memory was Aberdeen Morton.
That's
and
right.
I think there's a rule where you name a ticket price for both semis. You can't bump it up for the kind of big one, if you know what I mean. So I think to entice Aberdeen Morton fans, they'd done a £15 for adults and £5 for kids deal. So it was the same for the game the following day here against Rangers, and I somehow managed to get a ticket last minute. I think one of my pals had one, and it was a concession ticket. I got in. It cost me £5 to watch Celtic scoring an 89th minute winner against Rangers, Moussa Dembele. I lost my keys celebrating. I couldn't find them. I left the ground. I had to go back into the ground about 15-20 minutes after full time. I was the only person in the ground, just going about turns,
that must be quite
rows looking for my keys. And it was crazy. It was so weird being in the stadium after 50,000 people had been there, and being literally the only fan left in the stadium. There was still stewards going about
the storm rather than before.
And I couldn't remember what row I'd been on. So obviously I'd just been celebrating mad, no zip pockets, and they'd fallen out. I eventually got them. That's the moral of the story. I know everyone would be really worried about that.
5 or 6 years on.
But it was that was a hell of a day.
It was, and it's mad to, I was only 16 that day. Wow. I'm now 22. I have aged horrendously in those 6 years. But that was one of my favourite memories here, especially because how much I love Moussa Dembele. He's obviously, I think I've said many times.
That was peak Dembele,
he's my favourite player in my lifetime. I think one of them anyway. And then that was just carnage, especially because it was the first time we'd played them at Hampden since the time before, where they beat us on the penalties. So going into that game was like, right, we've battered them 5-1, but this is Hampden. This could go anyway, and I think there was still that wee bit of how far ahead are Celtic and Rangers here, and we scored that 88th minute goal, and sometimes it's sweeter scoring the late goals, rather than the 4 or 5-0s, because it's just the sheer euphoria, the actual celebration. So, that was one of the best.
Another 1-0 victory here with another Frenchman scoring the winner, Christopher Julian, the League Cup final this time. The roar at full time that day after being under the cosh for basically the whole match, but especially the second half, 10 men, etc. Rangers should have won that game like 4 or 5-1 if we had a mere mortal in nets, but we didn't that day. We had,
or if they had a half decent striker.
Yeah, pretty much. But that day was incredible, as I say, the roar at full time and just not being able to believe that we'd been able to win that game. And then I went to Cluj a couple of days later for like 4 or 5 days with my pals Lewis and Gamba. So it was that was an amazing couple of days after beating them there. But people want to hear your memories as well.
There's so many. I mean, just talking against them now. So, the first one that comes to mind is the Musa, the wee, through the legs, as you done. That's the first one that comes to mind. But that day as well, and we were talking before we went live, and I forgot a couple of the games that happened. But that day we beat them 4-0. That was superb, because that was
the cup draw that they cheered.
That's right. They cheered it. Celtic will play Rangers, and you see the videos of the Loudon or the Bristol or whatever one it was, and they're all going after nuts, and then I think in the space of 2 weeks we battered them twice.
3-2 Ibrox. They spat the dummy out with the allocations. We battered them here, and then we beat them 5-0 at Celtic Park.
That's right. So that's like the golden era of being a Celtic fan.
Is there similarities there at all? I mean, we're not going to beat them 4-0, I don't think, tomorrow. But
never know.
A narrow win at Ibrox after going behind a couple of weeks later, a semi-final here, a derby to come at Celtic Park a couple of weeks after that where we could win the league.
That's the
script is right in itself.
Very keen observation.
Yep.
Very keen. Well done, Hamish. But that day was brilliant. And it's one of those ones I remember leaving afterwards, and it's just, there's not a bad word that was said. Sometimes you leave and there's people moaning about a certain performance or a certain thing in the game, or they're still complaining about a referee decision, but everybody was just cloud nine. And I love that feeling. I just love it when everybody's just on the same wavelength, singing for the same hymn sheet, and we're all partying.
Yeah,
love that.
Hopefully more memories to be made this Sunday. But for now, I must do something that I've been wanting to avoid on the channel for a long while. We're talking Europa League semi-finals. I must pay credit to them. A club that nobody really likes. They beat us earlier in the season, but we were in a bit of a state at that stage. But fair play to them. They've done it. They've got through to the last 4 of the Europa League. Begrudgingly, I say, well done, West Ham. Anyway, moving on.
It's good. I was like, it took me a minute to click where that was going, because you said they beat us earlier in the season. I was like, Ham. But I was sitting in my head and I'm like, Frankfurt never beat us. I'm like, Leipzig never beat us. The friendly. Well done, Hamish. Well done.
Thank you. In all honesty, Rangers going to extra time last night. Do you think that makes a difference? I mean, imagine we Dies and Maida watching that last night, tucked up in bed with a hot chocolate, thinking, beautiful.
It's good, but it scares me as well, because if they do somehow beat us at the weekend, I can't be bothered already with we've just played 120 minutes and we've beat you, and you're not going to win a treble, this, that, next thing. It does, but ultimately it's an advantage. It's advantageous. We need to take advantage of that. I said earlier in the video, 8 days rest versus 120 minutes played.
They were cramping like mad.
And that's right. As you said, Dyson Maida, he should be licking his lips. Kyogo Furuhashi might be back in the team this weekend. He should be licking his lips. All these players know what's at stake here. We've played Rangers twice now over the past few months where they have been fully fit. Let's be honest, they should be. I mean, and this is a time now to take advantage of a side that might not be fully fit. And look what the damage we've done when they're supposed to be. Yeah. Big opportunity.
I think if they'd have lost last night, I would be like counting down the minutes till kick off, and I would think they'll be distraught after that. Yep. They've gone to extra time, they've gone out of Europe. It would have been a real opportunity for us. Still is a big opportunity. I do think we need to be wary of the boost it's given them.
Yep.
We spoke to Jackie earlier in the week, and he did say he brought the example of Celtic winning in Boa Vista.
That's right.
All those years ago, and then playing Rangers on the Sunday and winning at Ibrox. So Celtic didn't go extra time in Portugal that time, but it just goes to show that you can get through an adrenaline, and they will be in a massive high. As much as you look at the form domestically and we should be the team in a massive high, it's kind of them going into it for some reason. I think they've just been really up or down, and Celtic have just been really steady lately.
That's right.
Hopefully we see that. In terms of team news, Ange had his press conference. Our friends at GigPod were there, so check out their social media feeds for the stuff from there. Team news, GG is out.
Sad.
Very sad. Turnbull is fine. Forrest is back in the squad. I believe Ange was pushed on Kyogo by Rizzo from GigPod.
Brilliant.
He says that Kyogo is ready to play, but won't get 90 minutes. I just wonder, hear me out here, if the Kyogo fairytale is on. Last time he scored for Celtic was here, cup final against Hibs. He's gone through all of this, heartache, I suppose, in terms of being injured, missing so many big games. He obviously came back last weekend, should have scored. You just sometimes wonder if with that goal not going in last weekend, is that great man up there, who could literally be anyone. Yes. I was going to say God, but it could literally be anyone. Is he saving up Kyogo's next goal for tomorrow against Rangers back at Hampden, where he scored his last one? Is the fairy tale on?
It's Easter Sunday. You know what that means? The resurrection. Usually I would save that for my comments on Vasilis Barkas, but in this occasion, it's the resurrection of Kyogo Furuhashi in his goal scoring form. The question is now, obviously we've heard that he won't get 90 minutes maybe. Does he start the game? Do you bring him on a little bit later?
Is Ange saying that he won't get 90 minutes? It sounds a bit like he might start. I've been adamant the whole way through that he won't, but I'm starting to waver. It's
because, you look at the other options. Do you put Maida up front? It's difficult, isn't it? Like to kind of predict, because we can really go any way, I think, with it. But no, as you said, it's the fairy tale kind of story can continue here, I think. He was brilliant against Hibs. He stood up and he made that game his own. You could say he won us the cup single-handedly to an extent.
With an injury.
So this is the sort of opportunity he'll relish. And I think that he wants a goal against Rangers as well. He'll be sitting there thinking, let's get a goal. He didn't manage to get it that time.
He's not scored against him yet.
Yep, didn't manage to do it at Ibrox. Obviously hasn't played in the last 2 games. It's time to start that derby goal scoring form. Could this be the one? I hope so.
Getting excited.
Yes.
People have heard my team on the video with Jack earlier in the week, so the floor is yours, Ryan. Talk us through your Ange for a minute.
I'm Ange for a
minute. Talk us through the team for tomorrow.
Oh, it's quite nerve-wracking being Ange here. I feel like I've just.
Give us an accent. Go on.
Good eye, mate. I can't do an Australian. Get this Scouse if you want.
No, you're right.
No, I think the team kind of picks itself for me. I think it's the exact same as what's been in the last couple of games, bar the forced change of Giakoumakis to I think Kyogo. I think Kyogo will start.
So same team apart
so same
from
team.
that.
So Joe Hart in goals, Juranovic, Vickers, Starfelt, Taylor,
yep.
McGregor, Hatate, Rogic, and in the front three of Maida, Jota, and now Kyogo. That's what I think the team will be. I just don't think that we need to change anything. I think O'Reilly is fantastic, and you know what, if he starts I'll be more than happy. I think him and Rogic are it's a fantastic headache to have. But I just see that team working really well at the minute. They've done the job at Ibrox and they got 7 goals against St Johnstone, and that was with making really good substitutions as well. So everybody's got a part to play. Whoever starts the game knows what they have to do, and I'm feeling confident for whatever team does play.
Yeah, and what's your prediction for the game?
Oh, that's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The big one. I think Celtic will win. I'm confident we'll win the game. I think it will be narrow once again. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Celtic win.
Okay.
1-0. Clean sheet. 1 goal in the game. Nervy affair.
A wee Musa kind of Julian type thing.
Oh, yes. 3 points. No, but an offside goal would be nice.
Yeah. If you're just wondering, by the way, the high vis guys that walked by were the same guys that told us off earlier.
Is that the same guys?
So I'm keeping my head down. Here's the rest of the team's predictions on 67 Hail Hail, and as you can see, I'm going for a 3-1 Celtic win. I had 3-0 penciled in for a while, but I thought I'd give Rangers a goal back. Are you going on Sunday?
Oh yes, I'll be there. I got my ticket. I was balloted. It's very nervy, very quick story. Basically, ever since me and Kieran Auld have been going to the games together, we're always obviously on the same sort of ballot, and he's missed one. The other boy we go with has missed one. I'm the only one that's never missed one. I've been in every single ballot. So while I was waiting in the queue, I can't tell you the nerves that I was waiting for. I was like, this is my time, innit? This is the one I don't get balloted for. But lo and behold,
fascinating story.
We're here, yes. I know.
Sure, everyone's turned off. If you're still with us, I'll tell you that we'll be back with the reaction on Sunday. If you're looking for kind of more preview and stuff, we did have the stuff with Jackie McNamara from Thursday, Paul Lambert from Friday that you can check out as well.
What a cast.
I know, incredible.
I always wonder, why do you do this? Why do you get the big stars on and then you throw me up the day before the game?
Yeah, because you do it for nothing, that's why. No, I think we'll leave it there, everyone. Ryan, thanks so much for your time, really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching this, and yeah, we'll speak to you tomorrow after the game with the reaction.